In 1971, something happened that quietly changed the entire global economy. No war, no financial crash, just a single announcement, and overnight, the world's money system was never the same again. The moment happened under Richard Nixon, and it ended a monetary system that had existed for decades, a system that connected the world's currencies to gold. What happened next created the financial world we live in today, but it also opened the door to inflation, debt, and instability. This is the story of the day money changed forever. To understand the shock of 1971, we need to go back. We need to go back to the end of World War II. The global economy had been devastated. Europe was destroyed. Japan was rebuilding, and the United States had become the dominant economic power. So world leaders gathered at the historic Bretton Woods conference. Their goal was simple: create a stable financial system. The result was the Bretton Woods system. Under this system, the US dollar became the world's main reserve currency. Other currencies were tied to the dollar, and the dollar itself was backed by gold. 1 ounce of gold equaled 35 US dollars. Countries trusted the system because the dollar could be exchanged for gold. This created decades of financial stability. But beneath the surface, a problem was growing. During the 1960s, the United States began spending enormous amounts of money. 2 major forces drove this spending: the Vietnam War and massive domestic programs. Government spending exploded. But instead of raising taxes enough to cover it, the US printed more dollars. Over time, the number of dollars circulating around the world became enormous. Foreign governments began to notice. There were more dollars in circulation than the US had gold reserves to back them. This created a dangerous situation. If countries started demanding gold for their dollars, America's gold supply could disappear. That is exactly what happened. Countries like France started exchanging dollars for gold. Ships arrived in the US carrying dollars. They left with gold. The US gold reserve started shrinking rapidly. Confidence in the system was weakening. Too many countries demanded gold at once. The entire global monetary system could collapse. The US government had 2 choices: raise interest rates and reduce spending, or change the system itself. President Nixon chose the second option. On August 15, 1971, President Nixon appeared on television. He announced a dramatic policy change. The United States would no longer allow dollars to be converted into gold. In simple terms, the link between the dollar and gold was broken. This decision became known as the Nixon Shock. At first, the announcement was described as temporary, but the system never returned. The Bretton Woods system was effectively finished, and the world entered a completely new era of money. After 1971, global currencies were no longer backed by gold. They became fiat money. That means their value comes from government authority and public trust, not precious metals. Central banks could now create money without gold limits. This gave governments enormous financial flexibility, but it also introduced new risks: inflation, debt expansion, financial bubbles. Many economists believe modern financial instability traces back to this moment, the day the dollar left gold behind. Today, the global financial system still depends heavily on the US dollar, international trade, central bank reserves, but the system created after 1971 is very different from the gold-backed world that came before. Money today is based almost entirely on trust. Trust in governments, trust in central banks, trust in the global financial system, and history shows that trust can change quickly. In 1971, the world quietly entered a new financial era, a system where money was no longer tied to gold, but to belief. And that system still shapes the global economy today. The real question is, what happens if that trust ever breaks? History may already hold the answer. Subscribe to The Capital Historian for more stories about money and power, because the past explains far more about our financial future than most people realize.